Hello, everybody. This is Dee. I am coming on a couple of seconds early so that we will have time to share out the feed and everything before my sister gets here and we start this phenomenal conversation. So, hello to each and every one of you as you come on. I am going to say it is a good thing to see. Uh-oh. That means I need to turn down my other device. Um, so yeah, I'm on here making sure that we get the word out that we are live. So, how has your day been? How's everyone's day been? It has been a good day for me, um, which is, I'm really happy to actually be able to say, considering the fact that I have not had the best health lately, even though many of you were not aware of that. Like I said, right now I'm just waiting. I came on a couple of minutes early so that I could share out the live feed so that when Sissy gets here, we can just go straight on into um, what we're going to be talking about. And so, yeah. So, how has your day been? Hello, everybody. On just a couple minutes early, sharing out. If you will be so kind to like and share. Yeah, my sister's here. Yay! You know, I'm always happy when my sister's here with me. We have some very interesting conversations. Very, very interesting conversations.
Oh, wait. Hey, Annette.
Hey, Nat. How are you?
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, we're on a couple minutes. Well, it's actually 6:00 now.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do, because it is 6:00 now, wrong direction. No,
okay.
You don't have to. Because it is 6:00 now, I am going to go ahead and I would say we can just go ahead and crank it up.
Okay, I'm with it. Good evening, everyone. I was running a little bit late, a little tired to the
No,
party.
you weren't.
I wasn't? Okay.
No, I told you I was going live early.
You did.
So that I could share out.
All right, we got a lot to talk about.
What you just said out
a
of
lot,
your
a lot,
mouth.
a lot.
Girl, yes.
So, where you want to start?
Well, hey, okay, now how was it worded on the post? Let's see. How authentic. Well, let me go to the actual. It says, dealing with real life is not always as pretty as the face we put on when we fix ourselves up to leave the house, jump on a Facebook Live or video chat, when we're getting ready to use our telephone voice, or simply try to hide how we really feel from our family and close friends.
Yeah.
How authentic can you really be with the people in your life? Are you able to trust them with your innermost secrets and feelings? Here's where the fun is going to start.
Okay.
What does the word ministry mean to you? Do you love the people in your life enough to let them make their personal life choices, even if you don't agree with them? So where do we begin? Do you want to roll?
Because
you're right. For sharing.
We have had some really interesting conversations around this.
So, and then we've had conversations with other people
about these same
about
things.
these same things. Yeah.
So I'm one of those people that I don't do. I guess the transparent moments for me are kind of rare, as far as the whole emotional thing. As far as being authentic, I can always be authentic.
People that don't know you.
For people, well, there's some people who do know me.
Well, that's true.
You know, they'd be like, "Oh, but you seemed fine."
Valid point. Valid point.
So yeah. I'm one of those people that I will. I'm good. I'm good. We could sit up there and we could have a whole, have a whole text conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And people will never know while I'm sitting there and I'm encouraging them and, I'm uplifting them and, and I'm trying to be positive for them. I'm crying or I'm sitting there and just in such a low place because I think it was Sunday. Yeah, I was going to say Saturday. But yeah, I was bummed out Saturday. So I think that's kind of when the funk started. And then I went into Sunday. And on Sunday, I was talking to people and I was helping some people with some issues and this and that and the other. But, it was all being done electronically. Mm-hmm. So by it being done electronically, nobody could actually see me. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't actually intentionally feel my energy. Mm-hmm. But you did.
Mm-hmm. Heck, I could feel you all the way down in the state of Mississippi. So, look, to use your term, what you talking?
What you talking? Yeah. So it was. I was not in a good place. I just had a whole lot of
life.
A whole lot of life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Same and thing. And you were feeling me because I was dealing with that barrage of deaths.
Yeah.
Because it was like 4 people just like back to back to back to back on Sunday.
Yeah.
That just was out of here. And then not to mention the ones that had transitioned last week. And then there were a couple that were this week. And then I did not remember, though, the anniversary of my aunt's passing. And because, Gary was like, why are you snapping at everything I say? And I was like, but I'm not.
Well, and no, because you know what? I tried to offer you wine. What was that, Friday? Was it Friday I was trying to offer you? It was like, you want a drink? Mm-hmm. You'll make you a drink? You want a cocktail? You want some wine? Was that Friday? I think that was Friday. It was Friday. I was just like, you want some wine? Can I get you a cocktail? Can I?
I was like, no.
No, it was Saturday because he was here.
Yeah, it was after
so
he got
it was Saturday.
Off work,
yeah, and I'm just like, you want a drink?
Like, no.
You want a cocktail? Like, I didn't have any, but I was just like, did you want some?
No, I was good. Or so I thought.
Yeah.
But then when I realized what the date was, the day, because that day was the last day that she was actually alive. The date that she passed away was the following day.
Yeah.
Or what have you. But it was like, it's amazing how our bodies and our subconscious remember certain things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That we don't necessarily think about. But to answer some of the questions, now for me, I tend to be rather transparent. And I tend to be a little bit more transparent than most.
Yeah, you do.
But my transparency does not always share my innermost feelings about how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I may converse, I may talk, but there can be an underlying issue of hurt or whatever that I may not ever address.
True. That's true.
I'll just be like, you know what? I'm just not even going to bother with it. I'm just going to keep it moving. Like even like this last week, I've been sick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those situations where, people have seen me posting, but there were a couple of people that know me that reached out. Annette was one of them. She was like, "How are you? Are you okay?"
Yeah. What's
And I
really
was
going
like,
on?
"No, I'm not okay."
Good evening,
Hey,
Deatrice. Hey,
Deatrice.
Molly.
And Beatrice was one of the other ones. It's like, look, you've been on my mind. What's going on with you? What your numbers look like?
Yeah. And we're
So
always on that. What your numbers look like?
right. Well,
what you got
today,
going on?
just so I can tell everybody at one time, today was 2.2 from my blood draw yesterday.
Okay.
They increased my medication, for 2 additional days in the week, but we seem to be on the right path.
Yeah.
We're not, in the ones anymore. So we're on the right path. And for those that don't know, I'm a cardiac patient, and I have a mechanical heart valve, and I have to keep my blood levels at a certain, consistency or what have you. So, you may hear or see me posting or talking about that, periodically, because I try to allow what I've dealt with physically teach somebody else, so they can recognize symptoms, so they can recognize signs, so they don't have to endure the 2, 3, 4 years of going back and forth to the doctor to get to the same diagnosis that I had. So, but anywho, but I think I can be rather transparent with and authentic with the people that I deal with. Some tend to be a little bit more, but my question is, I realize some people are more sensitive than others. You and I, we've had that conversation.
Yeah.
About the ones that will break down and, cry, they get really emotional. That's your baby girl.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, baby girl, how are you?
How they will break down and they, may cry or may not process what you're saying the way that you're saying it. They will receive it in a different manner. What happened?
That.
Hey, Beanie, how are you? Yeah, that's my Beanie. That's my brother. That's my survivor.
Yes.
Because yes, that's my survivor right there. But I think that when you start talking about authenticity, and it's so funny that he popped up, because he is one. Now, he and I actually went to school together. We matriculated from elementary school all the way up. Mm-hmm. We graduated together, the whole nine, and we have maintained a great relationship throughout. Yeah. And the funny part is, one time that I decided I was going to leave school, I left school because they didn't live far. And so I decided I was going to leave and go over to their house for a little while, and not knowing my mom was going to pick me up from school when I was walking my little rusty crusty back to the school. She just politely pulled on up beside me, and I was like, man. Because, I was going to just roll on back in, get on the bus, and take it on to the house. But needless to say, that kind of stopped that didn't end well for me. So yeah, he's one of those people that, but you talk about authenticity. He's one of, because you have a lot of guys that tend to try to play a lot of games with people that, and the family he actually comes from, they tend to be rather cut and dry. Mm-hmm. They say what they have to say. They say it with love. You can receive it like you want to, but that goes back to their grandmother, because their mother passed away, unfortunately. So they were reared by their grandmother. And their grandmother, when I tell you, she was a phenomenal, oh my God, she was you know how you have those grandmothers that just take you in, and you just,
Oh yeah.
because you affiliated with one of her babies, you
Yeah.
become her baby.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of those, but she was gonna give it to you raw and uncut.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his grandmother, and that has translated over to each of the children.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched those that have children, and I've watched their children. It's like that is that one thing within their family that has been passed down, from generation to generation. You don't play with people. You don't play with people's emotions. You don't play with, you don't do that.
Right.
You give people the truth and let it be what it's going to be. And, if they feelings get hurt, y'all can talk through all that stuff later, but be honest.
I think the relationship that my daughter and I have, when
Mm-hmm.
you talked about that just then, um, is because I told her that at a very young age. I was just like, you know what, you need to be able to come to me and you need to talk to me about whatever it is. Whatever it is. We will deal with the other, issues and
Well,
okay, well, you shouldn't have been doing that, and this and that and the other. We'll deal with all that on the backside. But I need you to be able to come to me and talk to me about whatever's going on. And so then when we go back to talking about authentic, I changed how I moved. I changed
yeah, we talked
I
about that.
changed my friend, not I didn't change my friendships. I just changed the nature of our association.
You created boundaries
And not just boundaries. I mean, where it was, we were always all together. I then started
to
backing
back it.
off.
Okay.
And I started to do things separately. And I started to do things different from how I had done them. And, I wasn't partying in the same way. And I wasn't doing all of these things because as my daughter became of age, I was not going to be that do as I say, not as I do kind of mother. And I don't want, I never wanted to be, I never wanted her to be able, well, you can't tell me not to do this because you was doing this and this and this. I grew up watching you do this and this. So when we talk about being authentic, that was what I strived for with my daughter, even was to be my most authentic self. And then to have those who were around her
Be the
to
same.
be a positive influence, to be people who also were authentic, but in their authenticity, they were a positive influence. And
Encourage her and chastise with love.
with love, right?
Yeah.
Because don't come out of pocket with her either way it goes. I mean, if she's jacked up, and then you can correct her. But if you come out of pocket with her because you having a bad day, you about to have a real bad day. But when you talk about the grandmothers and you talk about, the just coming at them with love and those grandmothers that, just kind of loved on you. My father's mother was a very no nonsense woman. She's a little bitty self. She's a very no nonsense woman. But I think she was one of those that said, somebody just made a comment, it threw me off. I'm sorry. She was one of those that, that said to me, live your life in a way that you want her to see.
Wow. Now
Live your
that's a
life.
whole post.
Now she didn't say. I don't know if she ever gave my brother the same energy. I don't know what she ever said to my brother, other than stop having all them daggum kids. But she said to me, "Live your life in the way that you want her to see. Don't look at me. You know he got a lot of kids. Then the way that you want her to see you living, in the way that you want her to carry herself." So
She does emulate you though.
yeah, and that's not always good, but
But no, but it's like I've noticed that, like when you dress a particular way, her, if you pay attention, her style of dress kind of shifts
Mm-hmm.
because she was like, I'm not doing glitter, I'm not doing this, I'm not, but then I'm not doing pinks. I'm gonna do the dark colors. Not, I'm just this, and then when mom started putting brighter colors in her wardrobe, it was like then here she came out with like for real tie dye.
It's just like,
It's
oh,
like, woo, here we
yeah,
go,
hey, that's
yeah.
hey. And I think it was because I was going through a period where, they talk about women being overly independent.
Okay.
And so because coming out of my relationship with her, being a single mom, but still having to carry the load of so many others, I and not just care, I can't say carry the load, but helping
You were
others.
carrying it.
Okay. Well, because of that, I think in a lot of times that I was almost in a more masculine mindset. And when when she made the statement, what you need a man for? I forgot what I was trying to do. I was like, see, this is one of those times when we need a man around. And she was just like, what do we need a man for? When she said that, like, it stopped me in my tracks because I'm like, I don't want you to have that mindset of, because I was that way for so long. I didn't want her to grow up in a mindset of, I can do everything and I don't need a man for anything. Yes, we can do just about everything. But don't say that you don't need a man. And when I say need a man, I mean you need a partner, not necessarily just a man, but a partner. And she was just like, for what? And so then I had to look at, and she goes, for what? And then later she says, we're man enough as we are. That was the part that did me in. She said, we are man enough as we are. And
that's deep.
That's when everything shifted. Like everything. Because I have these, I have friends, and some of my friends, our conversation can be a little mannish. But and then we have, we were doing things, but it was a group of us, and we were, a bunch of really independent women, and I love them to death. But one of the things that was not reflected within that group were positive men. And being that she, when my daughter talks about having a positive man in her life, it is my father, and it is long time off again, off again love, Michael from college. And so those are the two positive men that she had in her life at that point. And to this day, if you ask her about the father figures in her life, it's still going to be those two men. Mm-hmm. But we were at a point in our lives where, and because of things that happened, I was not bringing men around her. But I did not realize that by not encouraging, those relationships, again, I was...
Or just the interaction.
The interaction, not the relationships, but the interaction. I was, again, doing the whole not being really as genuine as I could be for myself. But then I was also realizing that I was doing more damage for my daughter.
That's deep, though.
So when my grandmother said to me before she passed, make sure to live your life in the way that you want her to see it. Don't put up, she said, don't put up false mirrors. Live your life in the way that you want her to see it. To actually live your life. And I promise you, when she said that to me, like, even those that, were close to me during that time will, they can say, I did kind of almost just a complete turnaround in how I dealt with them, how I moved, how I carried myself. And I just kind of was just like, okay, this is done, because I need to walk a different path with this child of mine.
That was deep. Grandma dropped some real wisdom right then.
Yeah. Hey, Melissa and Jamal, we don't smoke. And hey, Nicole, I need to call you. We need to get together.
But that's some of that wisdom that you need to share on your wall
Yeah,
for everybody, because that is actually a lot of what's missing.
I
And
think so too.
when we talk about, like the question dealing with, do you love the people in your life enough to let them make their own personal life choices, even if you don't agree with them? Now,
Other than her trying to go off to school out in the middle of nowhere, yes.
I do, because I'm like this. If I love you, now I'm not going to sit here, if I know something is detrimental to you, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to just let you roll in blind. But if you make the decision to do XYZ ABC, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna be there, and if I love you, I'm gonna ride with you, come hell or high water, rain or shine. And
I am the hell in hot water, honey.
see, there you go.
I'm just saying.
There you
The
go.
stuff that we've written up.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
I am the hell in hot water.
Some things will, thank God, go to the grave.
Woo! Life before cell phones.
Right. Jesus. I'm so glad I'm an old child. But I'm not a new age baby. I'll put it like that. But I will say this, based on what you were just saying, even within our circle, when you were talking, I started thinking about, there are some of us who are married that are in relationships, but a lot of the conversations have not been male positive.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And even with that being the case, it was like there wasn't. And for those who have been through XYZ ABC, that would try to encourage, a lot of times those encouraging words were chopped to shreds by the negativity of others,
Mm-hmm.
whose experiences didn't end up as positively, and it's not so much as like, okay, case in point for me, I've had um a couple of really, really rough relationships. One turned physical.
Yeah.
And so I had a girlfriend of mine who, I saw the signs.
Mm-hmm.
I saw. And and I would just tell a girl, if you ever need to just make some sudden moves, just holler at me. And she was like,
Okay.
okay. And that was all I said.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, she was in a situation where she was not mentally or emotionally ready to make some transitions. But when it got to the point that she was ready to make her sudden moves without pressure, she called, and the ball got rolling and things started moving. Now, but there was another situation where, me and you, we've had to lace up the boots at times, and just make actual physical moves to help individuals.
I think that's one of the things that I find absolutely when we talk about, because we were apart for so many years, the polarity in our lives, the parallel, I said polarity, the parallels that were going on in our lives, because I was doing it, because I had been in the abusive situations, and I had been in the abusive relationships, and I had become a part of a network, so that when those sudden moves needed to be made, you can call my phone. But in doing that, I made sure that she saw it, because I didn't want that to ever be her. And if it is, I need you to know, make those moves.
Right.
Or call your mama, honey, because I promise you,
moves will be made. Yeah, but that goes, and then so that segues into a conversation that we were having recently. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm a PK, I'm a pastor's child, and I'm a teacher's child. So,
You look
whatever.
a lot like Lou on this screen.
I had a pretty mom.
You did. You did. You did.
But
and I grew up in a church family. So I had uncles and my mom and some other folks who were very key in the different churches or whatever. So even though I guess technically I was a PK. Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I grew up in the church. But I am also one of those people because I guess of my experiences, I have probably gravitated away from how did you say it the other the religiosity of religion. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in my connection with the creator, and I believe that my relationship with the creator is just that it is a relationship. It is that is my connection, my relationship with my creator. You're probably not gonna find me in too many churches because the last few church, well, other than New Salem, when I go to church, I will sit there, I break out in sweats.
Not at New Salem.
Look, I'd be like, I'm about to, because I would always make the joke of, either me or the building's gonna catch on fire if I go to church, so I can't go. And that's literally what it would feel like. Is like I would feel like I was being consumed by a flame when I would go in these churches.
But that was because of things that you had seen, and observed and experienced behind the scenes.
Because I grew up, like I said, in the church.
Yeah, and see, for me, it's the same thing. So that kind of segues into that next question: what is ministry?
So for me, ministry. Okay, no.
Give the backstory about you and ministry. Nope, we ain't jumping out there like that. You're going to have to tell them. Because what I didn't tell you was I had somebody tell me the same thing, but go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
So I make it a point. I'm going to help people.
That's not what you would back it up, Sister Soldier.
Which part?
Where you were told what you were told.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So, way back when, you see me way back when, I was told that there was a calling on my life and I was supposed to go into ministry. I think that was another part of the reason I ran as far away from the church as I most possibly could. I was like, yeah, no, that's not me. I'm good. And, and the person who told me was, again, one of these people who I'm looking at with because I'm like, y'all are all a bunch of hypocrites. Y'all are in the sanctuary and y'all are saying all of this and fire and brimstone and we're going to bring down the roof and, you're smacking people on the forehead and you're dousing them with oil and all this and all that is going on. But I see what y'all do
in the study.
In the back offices. I see what y'all do over at people's houses. I see what y'all do when y'all don't have on these robes and these collars, and I see that. And I had to think back to it because remember my reaction to somebody we know having on a collar, and I had to think back to it because they all wore collars, and that's why it was such a visceral reaction for me when I saw that. But it was one of those things that came to me later. So, so I started out, and I was like an early 20s. So I hadn't even had a kid yet. And they were like, there's a calling on your life. You need to be in ministry. You're going to go in ministry. And I'm like, who? Not me. No, that ain't for me. That ain't for me. And the year before, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, a child that because of cancer and cancer treatments, they told me I would never have. They told me I would never have children. And the year before I had her, I was in a very, very bad accident that I shouldn't have walked away from. One of those trucks on one of those huge wheels ran up over the top of the car. And when it ran up on top of the car, it crushed the car and I was pinned in the driver's seat. They had to pull me from the passenger seat. They had to pull me out of the car. They got me to the hospital, and I had a cracked sternum. I was in so much pain that someone had given me pain medication but had not put it on my chart. And so when it came time, they gave me the fiends, and I don't me and the fiends, we can't do all that. I'm allergic to them. So I had twice the amount of pain medication in my system that I ever should have had. Um, and because of that, and then they just kind of left me in the room. They took me for X-rays and this and that and the other, and they left me in the room, just kind of forgot about me. Can't remember if I was in a room, in the hallway, wherever they left me. They just left me. Now, in my brain, I was there for a very, very long time. I realized I was high as a cootie bug. I might not have been there quite as long as I thought I was, but in my brain, I was there for a very, very long time. I called some of my friends, come and get me. They were like, where are you? I'm at such and such a hospital. You got to come get me. They were like, why are you in the hospital? Oh, I was in a car accident. They ran over the car, but I feel fine, so come get me. They ain't came back, so I guess I can go, so come get me. So they had the police. The police came to my grandmother's house because I was at my grandmother's house in North Carolina. The police came to my grandmother's house late that night because they had to tell her that, one, I had been in an accident, and two, I had disappeared. And my grandmother's like, she's in the bed asleep. Did you need me to go and get her? She back there. Kenyatta! Like, I was
knocked out.
Knocked out. This was my other grandmother. I was in there just knocked out. They were like, you just walked out of the hospital after a truck ran over your car. And I'm like, yeah.
Okay, as you digress, get back to where you need to be.
So,
I love you.
So, I know. I love you too. So ministry, so ministry was never my thing. And it was prophesied to me. Then again, it was repeated to me the second time. But what they told me was to cook and to testify. Those were the two things that they said to me. And that I was supposed to cook and to testify. And that, again, I was called to ministry.
Yeah. And I was told the same thing. I've had someone, you're going to do this and you're going to look. And I tell them quick, look, until I hear it from the man upstairs, you can miss me with that. But during our conversation, when we were talking about this, what did I turn around and what did I tell you? You are in ministry.
Yeah.
You are in ministry because you are forever helping people. You are forever doing, and that is really the essence of ministry. Ministry is not spitting in a mic at a podium. A lot of people take that and they twist it.
Yeah.
Because, but if anything, if COVID-19, if Rona has taught the world anything, it's what real ministry is.
Absolutely.
It is not going out to a building. It is not, making sure that you get to sit in your chair and nobody has your parking spot. It is not having the praise team get up and try to force folks that's still sleepy to raise their hands and stand up and sing for about 30 minutes to an hour. It's not, having the preacher or the, deacon or the whomever in the pulpit trying to force people to, because my thing is this, you said something very profound when you said you have your relationship with the Creator. Mm-hmm. Now, my thing is, if you are a believer and you are in a church, people should not have to poke you and prod you to be thankful, to be alive enough or well enough to even be in that place.
Yeah.
How many times, and I'm not saying, there have been many a Sunday, being a musician, mm-hmm. I've not wanted to be there. Especially when I was in Mississippi, there were many Sundays I was just like, if I did not have to play, I would not go. and it became a burden.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look back on it now, I sit here and I'm like, D, shame on you, because you were spared from drowning to death internally. You were spared from the 18-wheeler hitting you, sending you down the embankment and running into trees head on. You were spared from having firearms pointed at you at different points in time in your life.
Yeah.
You were spared from a whole lot of different situations, and you feel like, I don't have a want to.
I don't have a want to.
And you feel, I'm sitting up here, and it's like, and if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would be like, if I could go back and, talk to my younger self, I would say, it's not so much as you don't feel like it or you just don't want to, so much as it is you're just frustrated with the fact that you have a lot of responsibility on you, because as the minister of music, as the musician, people expect you to be the one to, quote unquote, set the atmosphere, when you should walk into a place with the atmosphere already set within your heart. Whether if and like I said, Rona's taught a whole lot of lessons.
Yeah.
Because see, a lot of people aren't back in their buildings.
Nope.
So if you are not secure within your relationship with the Creator, at your own home, in your own dwelling, in your own place of peace, then you need to evaluate some things personally.
Absolutely.
So on that note, and okay, see, Kiana just saying she just got done speaking with her children.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where I look at, and I know my relationship is different from your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Gary and my relationship is different, even though we are yet husband and wife.
Yeah.
Our relationship, it's just like with anybody. You got to realize who you are and whose you are. And you got to realize that, okay, I don't need somebody trying to convince me that I am worthy.
Absolutely.
I don't need to have somebody to hit me across the head. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times where we all need encouragement.
Yes.
Because there are times where I have, like you were saying, I have encouraged people to the point that I had nothing left in me.
Yeah.
But a bunch of tears and a wet pillow.
I think that's part of where I was on Saturday.
Yeah, there have been times where, and you're right, Kiana. It's like we carry the light with us. And I will say something about Kiana. Her life has not been perfect. Because she shared some things that, will go to our graves.
Yeah.
But to look at her, to encounter her, to see her, you would never know that young lady has been through anything that she's been through. Because when you see her everything about her says peace.
Light and love. Everything.
Everything says peace.
Everything about her.
Her music, her art, her photography, everything screams. Her children. Yes.
You see her peace reflected
in her children. Yes.
Absolutely.
And that is the part, like, you were talking about with Kayana. It's one of those situations where and I always said, we talk about dealing with, and I always call them growing adults.
Yeah.
Because our interactions with others, we're teaching them how to deal with these various situations and various individuals and various scenarios.
Yeah.
And for you to let her see a lot of the things that you've allowed her to see, it's like, and even just during the short time G and I have been up here, to watch her, and I was telling you the other day, to watch her to transition from being a that young girl into a young woman.
Mm-hmm.
It is phenomenal to watch that transition, to watch her soften,
Yes.
to watch her soften as a young lady.
Yes.
To
Because I
watch.
was scared for a little while. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, oh, wait a minute, how long? I'm gonna have to redirect because you were talking about her emulating me. So if I read, I ain't gonna lie. I was like,
But and it's just one of those deals where we talk about ministry. Like I know some people right now, love them dearly, but I wouldn't. And one of them, two of them, three of them, four. Okay, let me just stop
counting
counting.
people.
There are several, and being a pastor's child, there are several that I have absolutely no respect for.
Oh, yes, stop counting.
And see, it takes a lot for me to say that I have absolutely no. Now, I'm very careful when it comes down to speaking ill of an individual that professes to be in ministry. I'm very careful about that because I don't know, whether it's legit or not. Yeah. But I do know that a tree is known by the fruit it bears. You talk about Kiana, fruit. Her children are her fruit.
Her children are
her children souls. Are her fruit. And we see her fruit. We see the labor of love that goes into her fruit.
Yes.
Kayana, I see the labor of love that has gone into that young lady. Yeah. Others that are around us, we can see the labor of love that go into them. Mm-hmm. Just like we can see the lack of love that goes into so many that are lost, that are dealing with, whatever they're dealing with. And that's why I have such profound respect for the John Grices, the Shane Shepherds, the Brian Carters, yes. All these different mentors. That now there are females that need mentors, because a lot of these females that are out there, these young mothers, hell, these old mothers, that they are, because of their life experiences, they are not able to share the positive side of things with their daughters, like you're able to do with yours, like Kiana's able to do with hers. Mm-hmm. They see it, and we all, and I've been sitting here and I've just been kind of thinking about it. And we often, we've had this conversation about, it's a shame how people emulate what they see on these reality TV shows. But when we think about it, in some aspects, that's the only piece of positivity some of them ever see. To be now, all the fighting and the booty shaking and all that stuff, I'm not talking about that aspect of it, but right. Just to actually find some level of success in life. Mm-hmm. The success. Because see, for those that don't have, to have that change in their pocket is considered success.
But if you are measuring success by material standards, then we have failed.
Right. And unfortunately, I think, even going back to a lot of the looting and the rioting and, during the major heavy protesting, I think we were indoctrinated and taught the materialistic aspect of things. Okay, if you have the materialistic things, then you're successful. Think about excuse the way I hate this word, but think about the house nigga versus the field nigga.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The ones in the house had the nice clothes. They got to wear, the this, that, and the third. They got to eat the scraps that were a little bit better than what was given to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Those material things that became the standard.
Yeah.
If we look at it for what it really, really is. And unfortunately, those of us who have been trying to teach us,
Princess.
those of us who have been trying to teach us over a period of time that, that is just not the way it is. And this is how it should be.
Yeah.
They get knocked down. We get kicked to the curb. Save your money. Get your credit right.
Mm-hmm.
Do this. Look out for the best interest of Black people as a culture.
Yeah.
Not realizing that if we come together as a unit, we'll still have our differences.
Yeah.
We'll still have our various opinions. But if we come together for that one unified moment, we can be just as successful and do more than our great greats did when they built these universities, when they were building these segregated schools, when they were educating us with used torn up books with pages missing, because and only 2 or 3 people in the whole community knew really how to read at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We could do so much more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when you talk about ministry, you do ministry. You just not spitting in a mic. Well, we have a mic, but we ain't spitting in it. Yeah, we ain't up there hawk spitting and slapping people with oil and stuff.
Because to me, when you talk about the ministry, when you say ministry, to me, it comes back to, and I had not thought about it that way. So I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but even in saying it out loud and saying it to myself, it still was just like, okay, that one doesn't necessarily equal the other. So when you say to me ministry, so for me, ministry goes into minister, and to me, minister is the people in the church. When in fact, to minister
is
something is to serve, to help, to apply is the actual term.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are ministering something, or if you are administering something, you are applying it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about it in that sense,
they didn't lie to you.
When I think about it in that I don't know why you keep picking on me today.
Because I love you.
And somebody made a comment about my cup. It's on my phone. Baby girl went to vote today.
Yes.
Baby girl and I went to vote today. This was her first time being of age and being eligible to vote. So unfortunately, I was outside in the rain, and it was a light rain, but it was a steady. So even though I had on a heavy coat or whatever, I got very damp. And it's only like 40, I think it was like 45 degrees. So it was like not warm. So I was very cold. This is my, okay, so y'all can see my hand. This is my hand. So y'all see how big this cup is. This is my teacup. This is also my coffee cup, because I ain't friendly in the mornings. I ain't gonna lie to you. But this is my teacup. So like right now, this is full of warm tea, because when I say I was chilled to the absolute bone. So for the person who made the comment, this is tea I'm sipping on so I can warm up from the inside, because it was hours ago and I'm still
chilled.
I'm still very much cold.
Yeah. And that's but yeah, I'm excited about that. And so all that, yeah. Oh, look, we love you, Kiana.
Yeah.
We love you. We love you. We love you. We love all you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was saying about the part about not really respecting a lot of them. The reality is, you have so many that, and it's close to time, if not time for us to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
that don't practice what they preach. Like that post I put up Sunday. Dr. Woodard cracked my cranium. I was not playing, because those of you who are my friends on Facebook, I have since deleted the post. Before Sunday, I had deleted the post. But during that final debate,
Ooh.
I put up a post calling the idiot carrot some not so nice terms. And, and Dr. Woodard said some things that really struck me. And it was just like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I could say.
Because you never know who's watching.
Right. Right. And like I said, I had already deleted the post, but he was like, yep, we saw it. We saw it. Some of us agreed with what you were saying and just didn't high five you or didn't post it. And some of us were thinking it and others were saying it in the confines of their home. But, there were some things that were said and, during that debate that really evoked some really heavy duty emotion. And I'm like, okay. And it makes all of this brings me to the point that, okay, baby girl voted. I'm so proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
But then where do we go after November 3rd? Now, I'm going to be frank with you. Right now, the way my mindset is, those of you that can't say my Black life matters now, keep that same energy when my mama's birthday hits on November 4th. Keep that same energy, because I don't need you pretending that you care about me up until the next election cycle. I don't need you pretending. I need you to just go ahead and exit stage left, right. You can go through the trap door. You can jump off the front of the stage. Get a bungee cord and let them pull you up. I don't care. Just get out of my life and stay there. Keep that energy.
We were out there in our black masks that had bejeweled on them, Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And we were out there in the midst of, I think for every 10, 15 of the paler folk, there were, two of us. But we showed up. We showed out. And my daughter and I, we stood there and sat there, stood there, moved through the line, because we took chairs, blankets, because we were there. We were determined in our Black Lives Matter masks.
You know what was funny about when me and G went to vote?
What?
I had on my Red Wings hat, my Red Wings hat.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept wondering why people were looking at me retarded.
Oh, because I thought you had on a MAGA
hat. And it was like, it wasn't until we had voted and we were leaving on the way to the car that somebody mentioned, because I had on the jersey and the hat, that somebody mentioned, oh, so you're a Red Wings fan. Oh, I like that. Da, 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 da. And I told G, I said, you know what? I said, this hat is red with white on the front. I said, all of these people that I have been wondering why they were staring at me was because my whole black face sitting up here with this red hat on with the white. And it was like, after they would see what the hat actually said, it was like their whole countenance would be like, oh, okay.
Look, so you see me looking you up and down. What did it say? Looking you up and down like you're short. Looking at you like you're short.
But it tickled me after the fact, because I hadn't thought anything of it. I had not thought anything about the fact that my big black face out there in this big red hat with white. So people thought, well, I was in the process of making America great again because I was voting to get rid of the idiot carrot. So, I'm just saying. But that tickled me when you mentioned the BLM mask and how you all, worked your way through the line. And I'm happy to hear that so you all and so many others were out there, even though the weather was not voter friendly.
It was not. It was not. We got there because I overslept. So we got there at 10. We voted a little after 1. And yeah. And she made sure that she cast her ballot and she made sure that her voice was heard.
I'm so excited for her though.
Now this joker was sitting up here, hey mom, you can't talk to me in here. But mom, don't ask me questions in here. I told you everything you wanted to know. But mom, shut up. You can't talk to me in here. I'm like, what? What do I do when I'm done? I'm like, oh, you weren't listening to the directions.
Aww.
She was like, my teeth were chattering. I couldn't hear. Because when I say we got cold to the bone, so yeah, by the time we got in there, yeah, she was just like, my teeth were chattering. I couldn't hear. So.
But I am so thrilled. But I didn't mean to go on my tangent about ministry. I didn't. I did not mean to go on my tangent.
It's okay.
But it was just, it's just one of those things where I take it seriously.
Yeah.
You know, helping people is not a joke. And there's so many people right now that need help.
Yeah.
There's so many people that need help, that aren't trying to use people, that aren't trying to manipulate the system. Like the rapper that got arrested because he's sitting up here with $1.2 million in fraudulent cards and stuff. Oh, him and a group of people. Yeah. Why you sitting up here with people that act? Oh, he got arrested recently. I think it was a couple weeks ago. And you bragging about it, you know, online and this, that, and the third, showing the card, showing the money, showing some of the money. And you got people out here that can't even feed their families.
See, that's why I don't be on there. Y'all see me on Facebook. I will get on there. I will scroll through some of my friends, you know, or on my feed. I will post little feel good stuff, little empath stuff. I will repost stuff that she puts on there and certain other people.
If it's safe.
And and then I get off. Like, I don't spend a whole lot of time because you know, one, the empath in me, but two, because stuff like that, you know how mad I'd have been? Like, I'd have been on live having a whole fit.
Oh, people ripped him a slap straight new one.
I'd have been on live having a whole fit.
They ripped. When I say ripped him a whole new one, and I'm like, I don't feel sorry for him
at all.
Him or the others or the businesses that turn around and took, you know, people that were pretending. I don't feel sorry for them at all.
At all.
But what I am gonna say is, I've enjoyed this chat.
I did too.
Just free flowing, you know, and it's one of those deals where, you know, I hope people really pay attention to their inner circle, because if you're not able to talk to the people that are closest to you, then you need to evaluate those that are closest to you.
And that's when you make changes. And then again, and that's when you have to live the life that you talk about. Yeah. You have to, you know, the expression walk it like you talk it. You have to live the life that you talk about. And, you know, the people who sit around and who talk about gossip and who talk about, you know, this and any other, you know, they talk about, you know, petty minds talk about people.
Yeah. Surround yourself with some people that's going to push you to do better, to make that
Absolutely.
money, to you know, because your whole mindset changes when you surround yourself with the go-getters.
Yeah. And I mean, there are groups that I am in that, you know, that deal with, I mean, there are I have so many varied things on my timeline.
We both do, yeah.
But in the groups and stuff that I'm in, and I think the groups that I'm in that I am probably now the least active in are the ones where we're not talking about anything that's productive and that is going to push us forward, or that is empowering, or that is educational. You want to talk about this celebrity said this gossip this, all these, these
I
people,
don't care.
a fight video. What is that?
I don't
Oh,
care.
these celebrities are going through the I don't give a shit.
And that
Excuse
goes
my
back.
French.
That goes back to that reality TV mentality that I was talking about.
Yeah. I don't and I do another show, and on the other show I said, celebrity stuff doesn't matter to me because celebrities are not real people to me. When I say they're not real people to me, I don't mean that like they're not real people that don't exist and they're not real people that don't have issues of their
But
own.
the persona.
That ain't got nothing to do with me.
And plus, people are crazy about the persona, not the person.
The person.
Now, I will say this: my heart does bleed for Jamie Foxx and the loss of his sister, the younger one, the one that had Down syndrome. Now, she did transition, and when I saw that, it just my whole heart just caved in because one, I have family members with Down syndrome,
absolutely,
but then two, he has been such a positive voice for letting people realize that just because a person is different, that does not mean that something is wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he said, and he said this for years about his sister, and and I think it'll be a great way to segue, out from the show is when you deal with people with Down syndrome or with other, disabilities or limitations or what we perceive to be disabilities or limitations, you get a sense of true, authentic, raw, pure love. There is no in between. Either they like you or they don't.
Oof.
Either they like you or they, because every time I think about the individuals in my family, I'm like, yep, that's basically how it is. Either she likes you or she doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if she doesn't, we're all looking at you sideways because she doesn't she generally takes to people, but if she's giving you that side eye, we're all giving you the side eye, like, okay, what's wrong with you? Because something is wrong with you.
Why that baby don't like you?
Right. And
listen to the babies.
Right. So I want to say, in that regard, my heart does go out to him and, and his family, because she became a celebrity in her own right.
By herself, she sure did.
She became a celebrity in her own right. And, and the attention and the focus that she was able to give the Down syndrome community, they've lost a valuable asset with her transition.
Yeah.
So I will say that as we and you right, the actress, the inner circle is tight.
Yes, we are.
Tight. And you're right. Right.
Save mental health and go on a media diet.
You have to.
That was Miss Kiana. Yeah, because I'm good.
You have to.
I'm good to zone out. People are like, did you see such and such on Facebook?
Girl, but what tickles me is I will go on a rant where I'm not looking at anybody's anything, and I'll just start posting all kinds of stupid stuff.
I do too.
And they'll be like, well, did you see? No. Because all I did was just got on there and posted some stupid stuff and got off.
Like you're talking about the rapper with the cars. You see, I ain't.
And the only reason I saw that was because someone sent it to me directly. It was like, well, and I was like, he's stupid. And that was all I said.
That's how I see a lot of stuff, because you send it to me. Because otherwise I wouldn't see it.
I was like, he's stupid. But anywho, look, you all, November, this is the last week of October. We are doing pink and blue in honor of breast cancer awareness. Pink is for the women. Blue is for the men, because they do get breast cancer too. Absolutely. And what we're going to say is, fellas, it may seem like it might be just a bump. It may be just a bow. It may be a mole. But go get your breast tissue checked, because it could be breast cancer. And on that note, we're going to say thank you for joining us on this thing called life. Thank you, Annette. We appreciate it. You have a great evening as well. And, you all be blessed. Take care.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get to this thing called life.